What is up? Welcome to the Week 3 Rad Avenger League recap. This time joined by special guest Tim T Money Etheridge
Yo, what up?
and John, don't know his last name, Gex.
It's Hendrin. Hello.
Hey, what's up? So yeah, we were hanging out in Discord, so we're gonna do a co-op preview.
Love it.
So we're gonna start real quick, just waiver wires. I'm just gonna run down it. Tim added the Kansas City Chiefs defense, good for him. The big ad of the week.
I wanted Garrett
The
Wilson.
big ad of the week was Garrett Wilson going to
so
Trevor. Tim forgot to rearrange, so he got the Chiefs defense instead. Have a couple defenses: Raheem Mostert added by Wade, Corey Davis by Cameron. John, did you add Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, or did you drop Jared Goff for Carson Wentz?
I added Jared Goff, realized that, then thought better of it, thought that, so after I got him, I dropped him and added Carson Wentz.
Okay, so John is starting Carson Wentz over Russell Wilson this week. That's the notable ones. Only real starters here: Garrett Wilson, Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz kind of a band-aid in that regard. So, guys, you want to jump right into the games?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Cool. Actually, let's look at the standings first. My bad. Bad host.
Spoiler alert: I'm in last.
So Raleigh jumped into first place at 2-0, with 272 total points. Cameron dropped down to second with 242 total points on a miraculous comeback from behind. John, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, it was my house was a bad place to be in while that was happening. But, not a lot you can do. Stephon Diggs goes off for 3 touchdowns. You're kind of powerless to do anything about it. Left some points on the bench with Curtis Samuel, but again, you got to start your studs. That's what it did. Didn't work out this time, but we're gonna get back. It's on to a new week. 1-1. Still not too bad of a hole that we got to dig ourselves out of. We got Charlie next week. Excuse me. So yeah, just on to the next game. That was a perfect press conference invitation.
Very incredible. Very well said. Thanks, and then the clusterfuck here at 1-1 order goes just based on head-to-head, which I still don't know the fucking formula on that one. Charlie, Wade, myself, Ashley, John, and Andrew in last place of the 1-1s. That's your 3 through 8. And then the 0-2s, Trevor in 9th, and Tim in 10th. Tim, you wanna give a little statement? What happened last week? What went wrong? What went right?
My running backs, who are big names, have not put up big numbers, and the rest of my team is not great. And Josh Allen's incredible, great 3rd round pick.
Yeah. All right, so those are your standings this week. So jumping right into the games, we'll start with first place, I guess. And Tim, as you're involved in this game, not in first, but yes. We got a 1v10 matchup with Raleigh versus Tim.
Tim, century.
How are you? How you feeling going into this week?
Not great. I say that. No, I'm really excited. I hope Allen Robinson performs. His week 1 was just abysmal. His week 2 was actually pretty okay. I think Matt Stafford realizes there's someone on the field not named Cooper Kupp that can catch the ball. So I really want him to show up. And if my 2 running backs can break 15 apiece, I will be thrilled by them.
They can break 15
I have
total.
a legitimate chance if that happens. Yeah. Oh God. But I am terrified of his team. I was just saying earlier, I hope Lamar Jackson doesn't play, even though I don't think his injury is, anything serious at all. But, I can dream, can't I?
His
this
injury
is
update.
real David Goliath here.
Limited practice participant Wednesday, right elbow. We've seen him not practice before with diarrhea. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
We're looking at Raleigh's side. I mean, Zeke and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones just popped the fuck off. But he's got a tough matchup with that Tampa Bay run defense. Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, and Mike Evans' suspension might be your one saving grace here. He's got 2 suspended players on the bench.
I love that. I love it.
Still starting a stud actually tonight in Deontay Johnson, but we'll see what Mitch Trubisky or maybe even Kenny Pickett can do.
I'm thinking goose egg.
It's not great, but I mean, if you look at the other side, Allen Robinson, Rashad Bateman. The problem is, if Lamb Jack doesn't play, Rashad Bateman's just a wash. unless you trust Tyler Huntley like that.
I don't.
Yeah. The website here has got this matchup at 104 to 121. Nice 17-point spread. Which, based on Riley's recent performance, even taking on Charlie's team last week, who looked like an absolute juggernaut, and then just got shit pumped 151 to 124. Riley's team looks scary. Cameron's team looks scary. We'll get into that. So I'm going to go prediction here. I'm going to go with Riley. Sorry, Tim. 0-3.
I don't think anyone's surprised by that one.
No, I don't think so either. As someone who's been in the 0-3 dungeons before, Doldrums, John.
Doldrums and dungeons, I think both.
Okay, someone who's been in the 0-3
dungeon that you're in.
The 0-3 Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Hey man, you can always turn it around. So
I see a high upside to Timmy's team this week. Maybe not an upset, but a closer game than we think, maybe at the very least. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this game's not quite the wash we think it will be.
Anyone in particular you're thinking could have a potential pop off? Trying to get Austin Eckler going against the Jags defense, I think could be something interesting to keep an eye on.
Well, obviously we saw the shootout that happened with the Ravens and Dolphins last week. If that happens with Josh Allen at the helm, who knows? We could be in for another 40-plus quarterback game. I think Allen Robinson, like Timmy said before, I think we're going to see him get a few more targets than Cooper Kupp has been getting. They're going up against an absolutely atrocious Cardinals defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds the end zone this week. Dalvin Cook in my dream team picks for this week. I've got him as one of the top running backs. I think that he could really explode this week against a not great Detroit Lions run defense. So like I said, I think the pieces are here for a solid game from Tim.
Nuts on the table. Are you picking Tim to win?
Ooh.
Yeah, nuts on the table. I'll do it.
All right.
Tim to win.
All right.
You want to put 5 on it?
I'm not going to put money on it, but
betting against yourself.
I'll see it for free.
All right. So my official pick is Raleigh. John going out on a limb, hot take, having Tim pulling the upset. I would love it. I would love to see it, but I'm not going to put the record on the line for it. I just can't do it.
David Goliath. I've got his number.
So switching over to our number 2 team, Cameron. He's taking on Wade this week. If we're going to take a look at that matchup. So the website has it 113 to 106 in favor of Cameron. Cameron, we obviously saw last week. Sorry, John. Just written off, dead in the water. No chance on Monday night. Stephon Diggs comes through with just a miracle. And kind of going back to that game being a shootout. If that Miami Bills game is a shootout, we could see a repeat. I mean, Stephon Diggs breaking 30 2 weeks in a row. He almost did it 3 weeks in a row. Not. And then he's also got now Drake London playing Seattle. Drake London looked incredible last week. That wide receiver room has suddenly gotten really scary. The running backs have taken a hit though. I mean, his first round pick in Alvin Kamara didn't look great in week 1, didn't play in week 2, still questionable in week 3. We don't know if he's going to play yet. He is practicing. We don't know if he's going to see the field. Even if he does, do we trust Alvin Kamara at this point?
It's tough. I
think it's more scary. I think Cameron's team is doing so well without Kamara is more scary than anything else. He's crushing it, and Kamara could come out and do nothing, but I mean, if he does anything at all, it's just going to make Cameron's team even better, and that to me is terrifying.
And I mean, let's put this into context. These last couple weeks have been underperformances for most running backs, minus Saquon's been solid, Nick Chubb's been solid. Aaron Jones has had one really good game, one less not so good game. Dunder Swift has been solid. So, but for the most part, it has been the year of the wide receiver, which I think we're going to see a lot more of going forward, just with the emphasis on QB play. I think the era of the workhorse running back is coming to an end, which is sad. I love, Derrick Henry types, Jonathan Taylor types, but I think we're seeing the last of them right now. So Alvin Kamara, I wouldn't necessarily push the panic button on him right now, just because it's been tough for running backs this year. So even if you score 15, you're happy with that. You're thrilled even.
And Mark Ingram hasn't been great, so when he comes back, I think he's going to easily snag that spot and be able to, make an impression. If he's halfway decent, I think Kamara's going to do really well.
So talking about the year of the wide receiver, looking at Wade's, I mean, Justin Jefferson obviously is incredible, and that matchup with Stephon Diggs, that little back and forth is going to be great.
It's going to be a duel.
It is
very tasty.
Right now, Wade has Devontae Smith as his wide receiver 2. We saw him kind of come back last week. He had 80 yards, 7 targets, 80 yards, after getting goose egged in week 1. Still hasn't scored a touchdown. They've got the Commanders this week, and that just dog shit defense, which has a lot of names. No reason why it should be bad, but it's really, really bad. So where do we see Devontae Smith this week?
It's interesting, right? Because I think in the immediate aftermath of the Eagles last season, it's like, okay, Devontae Smith's going to step up. This is his second year. That's when wide receivers tend to break out, and he's going to be the guy. But then the AJ Brown trade happened, and he has been the shiny new toy over the former first round Heisman winning Devontae Smith. And it's tough to. I think the Eagles have to face a better defense for Devontae Smith to start getting more consistent looks, because they faced the Lions, they faced the Vikings, and now they're facing the Commanders. So they have not had to face a defense that's really going to challenge them all that much. So you can have AJ Brown as your first look, chuck it down his way, and which has been great for me, but for Devontae Smith owners everywhere, certainly a little disappointing. But I think give it some time, he will eventually break out. Like I said, the Eagles just need to be tested, and they haven't really been yet.
I mean, you look at this, obviously in week 1, AJ Brown was just the focal point, trying to get them going, show off the new toy. Last week, you mentioned it, they didn't really have to struggle in that game. Could we see this as a kind of a get right game where some of the game plans go to Devontae Smith? I mean, is it, hey, Devontae, let's get you going. Let's have 2 threats on the outside. Let's put something on film. And this is a perfect defense to do that against, because they're not going to do anything about it.
I think that if I'm Devontae Smith, I'm a little bit peeved right now, for sure. Like I said, I don't know what's going on in that locker room. I haven't really heard any kind of Kenneth Gainwell cleaning out the locker drama coming from Philly right now. So yeah, it's what?
Kenny Galladay up in New York.
Kenny G. Yeah, what did I say?
The other Kenny G.
Oh yeah, sorry. But yeah, I think this week might be indicative of how things are going to look going forward. If Devontae Smith doesn't produce this week, then I'm panicking.
And panic button, drop bench. Yeah. Maybe see if Andrew's willing to trade this time.
Exactly.
The last thing I'll touch on here, and I usually don't talk about defenses, but you did mention it, the Miami shootout last week, and they're playing the Bills this week, and Wade does have the Bills defense, and I'm a believer in the Bills defense. I don't think it's going to be a shootout again. I think the Bills are going to run roughshod over the Dolphins. They're one of the few teams that have the talent to slow down Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, or even get to Tua so fast that it doesn't matter. So I think they're going to shut them down, but if we do see a shootout, that could be something to keep an eye on, seeing the Bills get blanked or get a lower amount of points than what was previously expected and what Wade has kind of been piggybacked off of in his first 2 weeks. So I am still going to go with Cameron here. It's kind of one of those things where I'm not going to bet against him until he proves me wrong. Just kind of ride the hot hand. We didn't even touch on Miles Sanders playing the Washington defense. I'm a hater of Miles Sanders. It's just, he's not fun in fantasy. He's not fun on the field. I don't like him. But the Commanders are so bad that I think it will work out for him this week.
Yeah, agreed.
So moving on, we've got, I believe Charlie was next in the rankings. We'll go ahead and get to him, and it is John's matchup this week. And this is our first one we have that we're looking over, where it's a 1-1 versus 1-1. So somebody's moving up, somebody's moving down.
Yes.
The line has us here 112 to 103 in favor of Charlie. Charlie, as we expected last week, had just one of another lucky miracle performance. Had Nick Chubb go off, but it was too much to overcome with Raleigh putting up 153. Is that what it was? Just absurd numbers. John starting Carson Wentz this week, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. You picked up Jared Goff, switched up last minute to Carson Wentz. What's your thought process there?
Well, frankly, I liked initially I liked the matchup a little bit more for Jared Goff. But then, looking at the numbers, thinking about the revenge game aspect of it, and kind of just looking at the rankings, Carson Wentz seemed like the better pick. And it feels gross to have him on my team. I don't love it. But numbers don't lie. He has been balling out. He is currently the QB3, I think, QB4, and it's like he's only 7 points behind Lamar Jackson, who's the one right now. So it's close. He's made a lot of his weapons with the Manders. Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel,
Jahan Dobson.
Jahan Dobson.
Yeah, it's like these are all guys no one was talking about, and all of a sudden they are waiver wire darlings.
Somebody's talking about Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I think maybe just Carson Wentz is just such a dysfunctional quarterback that he had to find his home in Washington. So yeah, maybe he's just thriving there. He just thrives off the negativity. But yeah, that was and he's going up against the Eagles, which I'm sure he would like to play very well against them. So
I will point out that so far this year we've had 2 quarterback revenge games, and they were both not good.
That is something I took into consideration. But with especially with the Baker and Russ games, those were fresh wounds. Those were just happened earlier that year. There was a lot of hype around him. That Russ game, I mean, he was in Seattle. He was getting booed the second he walked onto the field. It's hard to produce in that, and he didn't
look good in week 2. I mean, at this point. At this point through the season, Carson Wentz is in better shape. He's in the system. He knows it better.
Yes. Exactly.
Russ has looked like ass.
Yes, exactly. So most rankings have Russ right above Carson Wentz, but it's Russ is the 11, Carson's the 12. So it's might be kind of interchangeable, but I just have more faith in the upside of Carson Wentz this week than I do Russell Wilson, which is sad to say, but is unfortunately the truth.
On the other side, Joe Burrow looking to get right against the Jets. Was it the Jets last week or last year that he had that? I know the Jets beat him, but it was that super weird game where he threw for 350 yards or a couple of TDs and they lost in a shootout. Am I remembering that wrong?
That sounds familiar.
I think that is right.
All right, so I mean Joe Burrow, this is another kind of get right spot. We talked about Devontae Smith a minute ago, but they've looked just dysfunctional. They look bad. The Super Bowl hangover is for real. They do have to go to New York, which it's not that far, but it's still an away game against a team you'd like to, kind of get back on the right track against. So we'll see what Joe Burrow can do there. Derrick Henry kind of also not looking great. He gets the Raiders. Derrick Henry yet to go over 100 yards. In fact, last week, which it was the Bills, 25 yards and a touchdown. He kind of got saved from the touchdown of just having just a week of being just completely irrelevant. And is running back 36 right now after going number 1 overall. So that is tough.
That hurts.
Charlie did get saved last week by Nick Chubb, who right now is your RB1. Week 1, he had 15 points. Last week, he had the 3 touchdown, 30-point performance. This week, he gets the Steelers, which that game is going to be hideous. So I expect to see a lot of Chubb and Hunt and Harris and
TJ Wattless Steelers, I believe.
That is true.
Still? Ooh.
I think so.
Yeah. I think they said, I don't think they said it was season ending, but it's going to be a couple weeks at least. And then a lot has been in the making the rounds about Kyle Pitts and only having 7 targets through 2 weeks, in an offense that does not have a lot of options. I mean, Drake London looked great last week, but that's the other option. That's literally it. I mean, you could take Cordero Patterson, but he's taking a lot of carries out of the backfield. Kyle Pitts only has 7 targets against a Seattle team that looks pitiful after the Broncos game, after they got up for the Broncos game. So I personally kind of expect him to just dominate target share this week. I don't know if you guys share the same sentiment.
Well, did you see you saw the interview where they were roasting the coach about not starting or not utilizing Kyle Pitts? I think it was Matt Berry had a whole segment about it, and it's like, surely that coach listens, because he's not wrong. I mean, he is really, really underutilizing this guy that, all last year proved to be just unstoppable.
Yeah,
almost
all last year, 3 years at Florida, he was just unguardable, unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's getting little to no targets. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean that's again, and keep this take this with a grain of salt, because I've only gotten 1 pick right so far this season. I do have him as the top tight end this week. I think that he could really have a big game this week, and that's the fallacy of logical coaching, which is like you would think, well, surely this is the best guy on our team, so you would want him to get the targets, and then that's just not what happens.
But good coaches think that, not Frank Reich, apparently.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But I just feel like it's inevitable at some point he is going to have his big week, and and so why not this week?
And it's another one of those things, kind of talking about the Jets and the Eagles and the Commanders. If you're going to do it against the defense, this is the one to do it against in Seattle. It should be an ugly game, so I do expect Kyle Pitts to get fed this week. John, I've said it before, unless Charlie's playing Riley or Cameron, it's really hard to pick against him. He's just got a horseshoe up his ass, which I think we can all agree with. So I'm going to have, it's kind of the same as Cameron, I'm going to have to go with Charlie until he proves me wrong, unless he's playing Riley, myself, or maybe Ashley. Cameron. Or, I didn't even think about that. So yeah, unless he's playing,
wait, hold on.
unless he's playing half of the league, I'm gonna pick him to win.
I don't know, what is this? What is this? He's got to prove it. I don't know. It's
no, and it's not that I think he's gonna be dominating. I think that a lot of weird stuff's gonna happen. He's gonna win this game 98-92. I don't like. So I gotta pick against you. Which I think
take it.
I think now I've picked against both of you, haven't I?
You have.
Oh yeah. Hey, welcome to the preview. Charlie's gonna win week 3. So we'll go to I guess my game actually would be next, and I am playing 0-2 Trevor, who was at the bottom of the standings last week. Tim, thank you for lifting him up a little bit.
Got you.
And I threw the little shot at Frank Reich earlier. Jonathan Taylor, in a game where the Colts scored 0 points against the Jaguars, had 9 touches to Matt Ryan's 30 pass attempts. I was pissed off about it. I was yelling at the screen. If you score 0 points and your best player touches the ball 9 times, that's just bad coaching.
Well, within your rights to do so.
So that's my little bitch for the week. Oh my God, who's here?
Oh,
hey.
Special caller.
Hold on, we got to
muted.
call in. Is it Trevor?
No,
Riley.
I think that's Riley
Meet
Poole.
your mic, Riley.
This is really cool.
Hey, Riley.
I wasn't talking at all. What's up?
We're in the middle of the recording.
We're recording the preview.
Oh shit! My bad.
No, welcome.
Oh,
Welcome in.
Hey, join us.
Anyway, so Jonathan Taylor touched the ball 9 total times in that game, and they scored 0 points. So hopefully they figure that shit out and get him going right again. He's got the Chiefs this week, and what is not going to be a shootout, probably a blowout, but the Chiefs have looked, average to below average on run defense. On the other side, Javonte Williams versus San Francisco, I personally would hate that matchup for myself. San Francisco's good defense, ball control, and they, it's already a committee. And when you're talking about a stuffing defense like that, that one scares me.
Not to mention, Jimmy G's going to have them up high early, so
that's true.
It's true.
they're going to have to abandon that run game.
Yikes. Tyreek Hill obviously popped the fuck off last week, kind of out of nowhere. Riley does have his webcam on, but I've already set it up to only have Tim's face, so apologize for that.
Sorry, bud.
Tyreek Hill against the Bills defense. Are we thinking a repeat performance? Do we see? I mean, it's hard to repeat 190, and 4 touchdowns between 2 of your stud wide receivers and 470 from Tua. But are we thinking he gets even closer to those numbers again?
I think he's gonna...
I don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't think he'll be absolute trash, but it's certainly he and Jalen Waddle are both not getting 30 plus points at the end of this game. I think that he will have a decent game. He's a stud. You got to start him, but I'm thinking 15 in that area for Reek this week. When he gets the Bills defense, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah. I mean, that's a ton from him. And then Devontae Adams playing the Titans. So we saw the Titans get embarrassed by the Bills last week, but that seems to be a theme that's going around. So I don't think he'll have any trouble get going against the Titans, and what could actually be a pretty solid game. On the flip side, Mike Williams, kind of the hot like boomer bust I've had since last year. Or Tim, you had to deal with him last year. I got him this year. Obviously had a great performance on Thursday night. We all thought he could be kind of leading the wide receiver room going into the weekend, and then every wide receiver on the planet put up 40 points. So it ended up being like a middle of the road performance at 113 yards and a touchdown. Do we have word, is Keenan Allen going to be back this week, or is it still Mike Williams' offense?
I don't know.
That's actually interesting to look at.
Hold on, let me check here.
They got him listed as questionable. Said Wednesday that he's got a shot to play in Sunday's games against Jacksonville. So maybe active. It kind of looks like even if he's active, he may be on a pitch count there. So, which is great news for your boy. And then once again, it's Jacksonville. Chargers shouldn't have any issues with them, but we've seen Chargers get in weird games before, and we've also seen the Jaguars get in weird games before with that 9-6 Bills game last year. And obviously, I think the confidence is at an all-time high, fresh off the shutout of the electric Colts. Jonathan Taylor, 9 touches in that game. I don't know if you heard.
Don't say.
But if that game gets out of hand early, I'm kind of.
But Chandler, he's their best player. Why would they give him the ball?
He is. You could argue best player in football. But touching the ball 9 times and letting Matt Ryan throw the ball 30 times seems like a winning formula.
Hey, it worked really, really well in Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta, you had aging Todd Gurley and Devontae Freeman. Anyway, Gerald Everett, kind of stacking my cards here with the Chargers against the Jags, which I love. And then Trevor does actually have Garrett Wilson going right into his flex spot, getting the start fresh off the waiver wires. The Jets are weird. At some point, obviously, Zach Wilson's going to come back in. You've got to see what you've got in your top draft pick. But right now, Joe Flacco looks to have control of the offense. Do we think Garrett Wilson is an every week starter? Do we think it's going to start feeding more to Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, or kind of a too many cooks in the kitchen on a really bad offense?
Raleigh, take this.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I wasn't listening. I was looking at stats.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the contribution, Raleigh. Love it. I mean, obviously Garrett Wilson. You spend a 10th round pick on him. You should go with the game script. See if he's the guy down there. We've seen rookie wide receivers the last couple years just pop off with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. So, I mean, it could start to feed back into him, but the Jets quietly have one of the better wide receiver rooms that we've seen, just from top to bottom. Same with the Commanders. If either one of them could get a quarterback, it would be really scary.
I mean, they're performing even, with Carson Wentz and Joe Flacco. So it's I think they're kind of they seem like guys that they can perform no matter what.
This is true. And it's weird to say that the Jets and the Commanders' downfall this year has been the defense. The offense is just cooking.
Yeah, it's Lions too. It's it's the year of the crappy teams with really hot offenses all of a sudden.
Which I personally love it because when you get those shitty noon games and all of them can score 1 million points, it's just a great time for everyone.
It's exciting football. Yeah.
It's so good.
And it's a dream for fantasy.
So
if you could have a wide receiver 3 in your flex spot, yeah, sign me up.
The website has this as a 103-112 between me and Trevor. I'm only going to pick against myself when I play Cameron and maybe Charlie. So I'm going to pick myself again here. I believe in my team. So yeah, any thoughts? Any thoughts on the actual matchup there, not just the players?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of. I think it's going to be kind of boom or bust for Trevor this year. I think as Devontae and Tyreek go, so do Trevor. Although they both had solid games week 1, and he lost that game, so it's a little difficult to say.
So it's actually kind of funny if you look at our teams last year, mine and Trevor's. Trevor was kind of the consistency guy. Had 11 players that will put up 10 points, and obviously if you can do that, you're going to win 70 to 80% of your games and have a shot at the playoffs at the end of the year. Last year I was boom or bust. I mean, it was either 150 or it was 70. There was no in between. And we've kind of got that flip flop this year. And so far he's had the bust. Once again, I've been there. I get it. But I mean,
do you think he is in a? Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I do think he is in a tough situation quarterback wise. He has the weaponless Aaron Rodgers going up against a tough Tampa Bay defense, and he does have Tua with all the weapons, but going up against an even tougher Buffalo defense. So it kind of feels like he's in a no matter what choice you make, it's going to be the wrong one situation with quarterback. I think Tua probably edges out Rodgers a little bit, again, just because of again the lack of weapons.
There's also the potential there for Tua to the Bills to get up 20 or 30 at the half.
And there could be some garbage time.
That's exactly what I'm expecting. Yeah, that's why I like Tyreek Hill a lot, because I mean they're gonna be throwing to him all game no matter what. So
yeah, and then once again pairing that with Tua, I mean, if it's 42 to 21, that's 3 passing touchdowns you got.
Yeah, it's gonna be the week 1 Kyler Murray, where it's like he looked awful all game, but he got a few touchdowns there at the end.
To be fair, the week 2 Kyler Murray, he just happened to win that game.
Yes, exactly.
He looked like dog shit in week 1. And just kind of pointing that out, he gets the Rams this week, so we'll see what happens there. I don't really know what to make of the Rams. They almost lost to the Falcons. They got shit pumped by the Bills. Maybe the best half of football. Yeah, true. So don't really know what to make of it there. They kind of took their foot off the gas against the Falcons and almost Falcons. The last game we have here is Ashley versus Andrew, another 1-1 matchup. So once again, somebody's falling, somebody's rising, no matter what. Andrew almost pulled off the upset of Wade last week after starting a hurt Gabe Davis and scoring 0 points from him. And I literally came down to the wire with Adam Thielen dropping a ball on the 2-yard line about to score. So, I once again don't really know what to make of Andrew's team. He beat Tim week 1. He should have beat Wade week 2. But I look up and down this lineup and I hate it. I mean, I personally just hate it, and it's not because his only good player is Joe Mixon, who I also hate.
I was about to say, Joe Mixon.
It is Joe Mixon. But his RB2 is James Robinson, who has kind of been a question mark and split in a committee with ETN. We don't really know which one week in and week out. Jalen Hurts is by far the bright spot here. I want to take over real quick. My cat's fucking my carpet up. Y'all can talk for a second.
Andrew's team is weird. It should be good, but his wide receiver room is arguably the weakest of any of us. I think that's why people have been going after him for trades this week, because it's like we're all trying to capitalize on your terrible wide receiver room. I myself am certainly guilty of that.
I don't even know if it's arguably the worst. It's bad.
I'm saying Timmy's awkwardly laughing because he's a close second worst.
We talked about that earlier, but yeah,
before you got here, we were talking about that.
That's.
Yeah, I mean, just running DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, who is still questionable. When when he's healthy, he's kind of a touchdown dependent, second or third option in the Bills offense. Which it's still the Bills offense, so that third option is better than most people's first. Adam Thielen, once again, we saw Justin Jefferson's dominating snaps, and then you got Kirk Cousins throwing to him, who you can say what you want, fuck Kirk Cousins. Devin Duvernay is kind of sitting down there on the bench, and maybe just a weird option to start throwing in there just for some prayers. But yeah, he's definitely got to fix that up. On the other side, we have one of the better wide receiver rooms in the league. Maybe even second to, I would say, Raleigh when Mike Evans is not suspended. But you got Debo, Jalen Waddle, and T. Higgins. That is just a nasty three-headed monster. And also, I mean, this is turning into the battle of people I hate with Joe Mixon and T.J. Hawkinson. I didn't even notice that. So I don't. Just on a personal standpoint, I don't really know who to root for here. I do hate Joe Mixon more than T.J. Hawkinson. T.J. Hawkinson's more of just like a irrelevant annoyance at this point. Joe Mixon isn't active. I hope he dies and gets arrested in that order.
Okay.
So the website has this here at 111 to 115 in favor of Andrew. Ashley got a huge bump from the Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill duel, which got unfortunately canceled out because he was playing Tyreek Hill. I think I'm going to go with Andrew here. I mean, if he should be 2-0. Like, his team is 2-0. The manager is 1-1. So I think I'm going to go back with Andrew here, and we could look at a situation where down the line, if he continues this and he's looking for a 1 seed, not starting Gabe Davis could be one of the bigger mistakes of the season.
Would he have won had he started? I didn't look at that stat. Like
he lost by 3 points. He could have started.
Yeah. He for sure
could have started anyone.
He could have started.
Oh my gosh.
He could have started me, and he'd have won that game.
Hey, that's a bold claim.
That's not true.
30 yards.
Well, you're not even signed to a team
Sorry,
right now.
if he could have signed me in the Bills offense, and he'd have won that game. Josh Allen's getting me 35 yards. So I'm gonna pick Andrew there. So running back down the list of predictions this week, I have myself over Trevor. I have Riley over Tim. I have Andrew over Ashley. Cameron over Wade, and Charlie over John. So the only guest that gets a predicted win this week is Raleigh, who jumped in late and has been muted and not paying attention.
I am. I'm looking at stats. I feel like I'm behind. I'm trying to do research, even though I know that you come in, researchless.
Yeah, fully researchless. The only research I did this morning was the Bills game when I put in the Discord earlier. Only stats I looked at. So anyway, that's the recap for week 3. Y'all have any parting thoughts you want to chime in?
Sure would be nice for me to take down Raleigh this week. I think a nice a come from behind spot 10 versus spot 1 story would be real sexy, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, Raleigh, you weren't here, but I picked Tim to upset you this week.
Hey man, I can see it. I can see it happening.
Hey, Tim's trying to put 5 on it. You want to put 5 on it?
Hey, you want to put 5 on a game?
Yeah, that's fine. No, I think I've got some tough matchups. I think Jamar Chase will be fine. I'm just Joe Burrow's worrying me. I will say I just traded away my whole bench, so just a heads up. So
is it official?
What is that? Hold on.
It is. It's a verbal commit, waiting for someone to get out of class to accept.
Oh, come on.
Well, what is it?
So,
what if I want to veto it?
Hold on. Yeah.
That's fine. You can veto it. All right, we got Evans.
Okay.
Watson.
Okay.
And Penny. Go in for Dixon and DJ Moore.
I don't think it's fair that you can have a super team. You're basically the Lakers.
I'm a super team. Hey,
I want to say that I am so excited for next year when you can't have Cooper Kupp in the 8th round.
Oh my God.
It's going to be so good.
Until he gets picked 4 and takes him again.
That's right.
He's gonna see
Listen, that's
next year.
fine,
He's
'cause
gonna
at least-
keep Jamar Chase, and he's gonna draft.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp. That's what's gonna happen.
That's not gonna
That's a
work.
great point.
Cup's not making it out of the
That's
first
fine.
round.
Yeah, no,
At least-
yeah,
at
no.
least
My,
they're
my,
getting
my,
him
my whole
what he
goal
should
right
be
now is
getting.
I'm just trying to rebuild my team from last year. So I need Mixon, and then if I can get Josh Allen, I think I'd be set.
You think
cost your whole lineup?
you think Wade will come off Justin Herbert so I can do the same thing?
Yeah, maybe,
Oh, for sure.
maybe.
All right, John, you got any parting words?
I do want to push back against your prediction of my loss. I think I've got what it takes to catch a dub this week.
Once again, I don't think it's not that it's not that you don't have what it takes. I 100% believe your team is better than Charlie, and your records at the end of the or your points at the end of the year will be better. It's Charlie. That's my problem.
So here's I was thinking this when the matchup when I was looking ahead that week there you had Charlie. Charlie's team is just weird. I don't like playing it. So it's just
it's terrible.
It's like Nick Chubb and like Derrick Henry, but he's not doing that well, and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I had a solid
Metcalf.
amount of time last week that I was convinced he won it. I just got a miraculous comeback. I was certain he was going to win that one last week.
That week
Yeah,
one.
it's
That was
just like
exciting. That
all-
was exciting.
It's all guys that like could put up like 25, 30 points, but it would just be weird if they did. But it could happen. I don't know. So, yeah, I could get absolutely destroyed this week. Who knows? But yeah, it's.
Here's the problem.
Once again, I am projected to lose by 10 points, which is what it's been the past 2 weeks. So we'll see.
Your problem with Charlie is you won't get absolutely destroyed. No matter what, you will be in that game till the very end.
Our game does end Sunday, which I like. There's no waiting for Monday this time. It's Sunday night will be over.
Oh, and he's done at 4:30, and you have the
nothing.
Cortland.
Yeah, he's got nothing tonight. Yeah, that'll be hot.
Yeah, I do prefer that, and he's got his stud from last week going on Thursday, so that's an advantage for you too.
Yes.
Anyway, that's the week 3 recap. Thank you for the special guests joining, Tim, John, Riley. It was great to catch up.
This is great. Yeah.
So let's get this exported. Let's get it posted so that everybody watching can be the only people, or everybody participating be the only people to watch it.
Hell yeah.
All right.